Well, the valuer registration scheme was originated in the UK as part of the ICS's response to the global financing issues in 2008. It was an attempt to regulate valuations, mainly for financial reporting standards. The idea is that valuers doing property valuations can become registered, and that basically opens them up to be monitored by the ICS. The ICS can come in and audit the valuations they're undertaking to ensure they're keeping to the ICS standards, the Red Book value and appraisal standards. What it is, should be aware that it's actually not a valuation qualification. It's a method of showing that you're open to the monitoring by the ICS to ensure standards. And I think that's the important issue. The valuation designation or qualification is Chartered Valuation Surveyor. That shows you basically taking a degree, a valuation degree appropriate to the ICSCs for their qualifications, and then taken several years post-qualification experience through the ICS, and then sat their assessments of professional competence, all under valuations and valuation of appraisals. I mean, the scheme is an excellent scheme in the fact that it now ensures that anyone taking property valuations who do have the ICS registered valuer designation are subject to monitoring. And the idea is that they'll be either online, the ICS will request copies of valuations to be sent up to them, and they'll just review them and ensure that the appropriate standards are being kept to. In certain extreme cases, they'll actually visit an office and undertake valuation reviews on site. So, any clients can be assured that there is a level of monitoring going on and standards are being upheld. I think one of the issues is by the nature of how it was introduced, a number of people who did valuations were being grandfathered in who don't necessarily have appropriate valuation qualifications. And I think that's a bit of a flaw of the system. In case of all these schemes, that there has to be a certain amount of grandfathering, I guess, otherwise people get upset that they can no longer undertake their business, if you like. But it does mean that people should ensure that just because someone is a registered valuer doesn't necessarily mean they have valuation qualifications. This has been addressed by the ICS, and now all new qualified valuation surveyors or chart surveyors who do become registered valuers do now have to meet that criteria. They do have valuation qualification, but that doesn't apply to those who are grandfathered in under the original scheme. It's slightly confusing having this sort of the qualification and the designation sort of running parallel. But I think as long as people have an understanding of that, then I think the scheme is generally very beneficial. And like I say, it has now become mandatory in the Cayman Islands now. We're the first country in the Americas. In fact, there's only 3 other countries, I think it's United Arab Emirates, Netherlands and Hong Kong, where all valuations undertaken by chart surveyors, they have to be registered valuers. So it's pretty forward thinking of the Cayman Islands to undertake this and make it mandatory. And I think it should ensure that the clients have a lot more understanding about how the valuations are prepared and the level of monitoring that goes on there. In the Cayman Islands, the idea of introducing it locally and make it mandatory was actually introduced by the local chapter. The local chapter of the ICS, Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, was established a couple of years ago. And its idea is to promote valuation standards and standards in all aspects of chart surveying. Of course, covers quantity surveying, cost consulting, land surveying, a lot more than just valuations.